Good afternoon. I am Kristin Gerst here with my fabulous co-host Jaylee Thompson. Today we have Brad McCorkle and we are on site at his tiny house here in Arlington, Texas. We're going to be giving you a run through of all of his excellent energy efficient products that are available to use and use in all of your remodels, especially for anybody who's doing a high-end green remodel. So we will be right back after these messages.
Propelio TV is sponsored by Noble Mortgage and Investments, Batchcape Tracing, Think Multifamily, CreativeCashflow.com, and Lifeonair.
Hi there, you guys, and welcome back to Real Estate Divas. We're here with, obviously, Kristin Gerst and Brad McCorkle, and today we're going to take a tour and talk about some of the products used here at the small home that the UTA students built here in Arlington in conjunction with the Housing Channel. The Housing Channel, just so you know, is also a program that's a very local program for Tarrant County, but there are programs that are local, citywide, countywide, statewide, and federal that are buyer assistant programs. So we're going to be talking a little bit about buyer assistant programs. So all you realtors out there that are maybe having a problem because your buyer isn't qualifying because maybe their income doesn't qualify them, anything that maybe they have a hitch on, then you can look into these programs and offer it to them, and they can get into a home and have buyer assistance. Anyway, so let's go ahead and dive in. Hey, Brad.
How you doing?
Good to see you. I am so excited about this house. It is so stinking cute. I want it.
Well, thank you. Students did a great job. 8 months of hard work, design, permitting, construction, finishing things up. So they've really done a great job this year.
They really, really have. I mean, it's stunning. It's so modern. I love it. And I love the separation. We'll take a tour at the end, but I love the house. And then you've got the separate garage, and yet it still fits in the neighborhood. So,
And the original structure was built in...
The house that was here before was built in '54, I believe.
But y'all leveled it.
Well, actually, it was a house that burned.
Okay.
Wasn't exactly a good addition to the neighborhood. There was lots of illegal activity going on, and it burned. So then they demoed the house, and Housing Channel bought the lot, and then turned it over to us, and we started working on it.
But that's a huge challenge because you want to stay with the architecture of the neighborhood. I mean, but you're in this and it feels like a modern house.
That's one of the things we really stress in any project that we do is we don't want to be the alien spaceship that got dropped in the neighborhood.
Really, if you go through a neighborhood and it's all traditional, I can name a bunch where you'll have Tudors, 1920 Tudor homes lining the street, and then right in the middle you've got this
McMansion.
Well, but like a modern,
yes,
a modern bunker, and
Right.
It's like, oh my gosh, why would you put that here?
So that's, since the neighborhood is kind of a builder take on mid-century modern, it wasn't hard to kind of do the modern thing. Our biggest issue was trying to keep the scale down because everything has a very low pitch roof in the neighborhood. It's all 8-foot plate. So, trying to get kind of the spatial volume and spatial experience we wanted, that was really our biggest challenge. And I think that, we were able to pull that off with the vaulted ceilings without going too high in a pitch, and really create these nice spaces for living here.
Absolutely. Now, what is the square footage on this home?
1630.
1630. So whenever we said in the beginning tiny homes, he has done tiny homes. Their students have done tiny homes, but there are certain restrictions here in Arlington that require you to build, what's the minimum?
1500.
1500.
Yeah. So if somebody's going to live in the structure, if it's a residence and it's a new build, it has to be at least 1500.
There is a process for building smaller than that in Arlington, but under our schedule, it would have to go through P&Z, we'd have to do a variance. But with our schedule, we really don't have the time to do that. So we try to build as close to that 1,500 square foot minimum as we can.
Gotcha.
And then, we apply some of the things we've learned on the smaller houses that we've done so that we open up the spaces you spend most of your time in, the living room, kitchen, that sort of thing. And we're not giving all of that away to walk-in closets or utility rooms or things like that. So as we tour through the house in a bit, we'll see some of that.
That's fantastic. And all of your students are architecture students?
They're all architecture students. We have a dozen senior architecture students that participate, and then we have usually 6 graduate students that join the class.
Very cool.
Well, and it's, I'd like to go back to like just how high how high are the ceilings here in this room?
So this is right at 13 feet.
13 feet. But it's amazing, just vaulting your ceilings.
What a huge difference.
Even for a smaller space, it just feels larger.
Yeah, immediately when we take the tour, they'll be able to see a little bit better, but immediately when you walk in, just because of how it tunnels down, but there's windows everywhere, all the natural light, and then this vaulted ceiling. It just is amazing how big it feels.
The lighting is especially important. With the clear story windows we have here, we have good light throughout the day. Don't figure that they'll use their lights a whole lot during the daytime because we do have so much natural light. But then also too, when you have these larger glass areas, it really kind of blurs that line between inside and outside, and it makes it feel bigger as well.
Well, what they can't see right now is that there is a wall of just window and sliding glass doors that open up, and it opens up to a huge patio that we're looking out on. That is a wonderful design in the fact that, so you've got the breakfast bar right here, but then you've got your outdoor dining area, which it looks like a dining room out there.
It's one of those things where, again, we don't have a literal dining room in this house. A lot of times anymore, they end up kind of catching a little bit of everything. Most people don't eat at the dining room table anymore. So instead of having a dedicated dining room, we've really kind of opened up the kitchen space. We have this nice long, I think this is almost 12-foot island here. So the island then becomes the center of the home. You can have, kids can do their homework here. You can have, your family dinners around the island. You can seat all the way around it. It really kind of becomes that center part of the home, and then you can open that up. And if you want to eat at the outside, then you can open up this 8-foot slider and move to the outside and eat out there.
That is so fantastic.
Well, the slider is what I like. And
love it.
And it's tinted, so obviously low E, but it's silent in here. It's really silent, and it's loud outside. So what type of glass is this? And just, can you elaborate a little bit more on that? A lot of people out there are renovating for profit, so they're going with more low-cost options.
Right. So these, the windows in the house and the 2 sliders that we have are manufactured by Milgard Windows and Doors.
Milgard.
They have a facility here local in Grand Prairie, so these are all actually manufactured here locally. The types of glass that they're using, I'm not 100% sure on. I should know that since we've been using them for 3 years now. But this system is what they call a thermally improved aluminum frame. So instead of having a vinyl window, these are aluminum frame. They have a full thermal break, so you don't get hot and cold transfer from inside to outside and back and forth.
And I didn't even know aluminum did that.
So only, not all aluminum windows are created equally. So these are extremely efficient. The glass units are efficient. You have 2 panes, low E, very good sound control on these windows. So that's one of the reasons that we like using this system. It is more expensive than a vinyl window, but they also now manufacture a vinyl window that also has a very narrow sight line. So when you're thinking about sight line, it's that frame at the edge of the window. In most vinyl windows, you have 2.5 inches of frame that you're dealing with, and your glass area becomes smaller. So Milgard actually has a more modern vinyl window now that's on the market that has a sight line that's much closer to these windows. You can't do as large a glass area, say, as you can on the aluminum frame, but you can get some rather large picture windows and large single hung windows in that system. So you still get that kind of clean, modern look. You can also get those painted. on the exterior, so you can get the dark exterior. They'll be white on the interior. But it's they really have some nice products that
But these aluminum windows are all painted
so
dark brown black.
These are also actually it's like an anodized finish.
Yeah.
So it's not going to peel, crack, turn, that sort of thing, and it's kind of a dark bronze.
Yeah, and they're lovely. So I mean, I wouldn't have even said, oh, I'm actually surprised to find out that they are aluminum.
So it's a really nice product.
So I know the package that Milgard sent to y'all. Milgard, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I put that out there, and then I was like, wait, is that what he said? So Milgard gave y'all a package, and because it's with UTA, they were donated.
Yes.
But the package for this house, just so that they know going forward, what did that kind of equate to?
So the windows and then the sliders that we have were donated by Milgard. They didn't do front, back doors, that sort of thing. But that package was about $15,000.
Okay.
But I mean, is that their cost? Because that really doesn't seem. There are a lot of windows here, and they're big.
Ton.
That would be retail cost. Is my
Retail
understanding.
costs. So I mean, they're not that much more expensive.
Not really. I mean, they are, but when you're looking at a project of this size and scale and kind of budget, it doesn't,
It doesn't equate to.
easily-
I mean, what are you
Right.
going to save on it?
Yeah.
Right. So, as we look to next year, and I know we're going to talk about this later, but as we move into, now that we've proven we can do this and we've done 4 houses now, looking at truly affordable, replicable housing, we won't use this particular window. But, we'll look at how we can start to reduce some of those costs, but still create good architecture. So it might not be the aluminum series window that they have. We'll use the vinyl, but we're not going to go back to just kind of your typical 3.0, 5.0
Sure.
Yes.
vinyl windows.
Yes, of course.
You'll still be creating the same look and illusion of this house, which
That will be the goal.
Right. So I mean, so this package here is $15,000 for the aluminum highest Cadillac version of windows,
Right.
but the vinyl is slightly
It would be
lower.
It
I
would be
mean,
lower in cost, and you couldn't go like, say, the window there in the living room.
that would be too big.
It's a 4.0 by 6.8. That might be too large to do in the vinyl. I don't know that for sure since we haven't talked about it.
For translation, 4 feet by 6 feet 8 inches. Just in case anybody didn't get that.
I have to think
we
about
have to translate for
Yeah.
everybody else watching. It's stunning to have that right off the living room, and being able to sit there on your front entry porch with that. So,
right.
but again, I mean, if it was slightly, even just having most of that there and maybe losing a few feet on the bottom is not the end of the world.
You're experiencing it mainly from the higher part of the window anyway. So if it
Correct.
had to
Exactly.
come up above the floor, then it wouldn't be as big a deal.
No.
So.
Well, as far as this whole package, and like I said, we'll do a total tour here shortly, but as far as this whole package, I know what y'all are marketing the cost at, since they're working with the housing channel, which is all about affordable housing. So there's a price point which y'all are marketing at because there was so much donated.
Right.
What's that price point?
So the price point they're marketing at is $195.
Okay, so $195, but because if you added in all the products that were donated to this project, what would this house be worth?
So you'd be adding in the donations
Mhm.
and then also the labor costs, because the students did about 70% of the construction themselves.
Gotcha.
So we would be right at a $300,000 house.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, and it looks like a $300,000.
It does look like a
I'm glad it looks like a $300,000 house. So.
Yeah.
So another feature I just want to touch on, you've added the rain collection,
Yes.
which is, there's a lot of people into stuff like that now.
Absolutely.
And that just feeds the irrigation.
It currently, because of, in most cities, you can only use rainwater for irrigation right now. A lot of cities will not let you
Bring it back into your
bring
house.
it back into the house and use it. The main reason why the company that installed this, Rain Ranchers, was explaining to me is because your water usage is metered on the supply side, and your sewer charge is based on that. So if you're using rainwater, they can't meter how much sewer you're discharging supposedly, because they're not metering all your water coming in. So there are a few cities that are beginning to rethink that, allow people to use rainwater collection, and then actually meter your sewer discharge rather than your water intake. So that's something that I think will start to happen
catch
more
on.
and more.
So basically what he was telling you is it's not that you can't do it, it's feasible and it's okay. It's okay to, like, I'm assuming there's a filtering system if they put it back into the house that you would be able to drink it, that sort of thing.
So they have a UV filter system. So it's filtered a couple of ways in the system that we have, where the gutter ties into the system. There's, leaf catchers and kind of catching, pebbles from the composition roof, things like that, and goes into the tank then fairly clean. And then there's a UV system that then it would pump through and be UV filtered before coming into the house.
Gotcha.
Or going to the lawn.
Well, this one going straight to the lawn, so it doesn't have a UV filter on this one.
Okay, all right. So there you go.
Well,
but it's impressive. How many gallons of rainwater will that hold?
So this is a 3,000 gallon system, two 1,500 gallon tanks. There is a submerged pump in the primary tank. And so it will then pump that, provide pressure back to the irrigation system. And so the homeowner then can flip back and forth between city water or the rainwater collection, so that it'll save them some money on their water bill. And then there's some other systems that they can install that's an automatic flip. And so we didn't do it on this one primarily because of cost. But there are ways to hook it up so that when the tank gets to a certain level, it will actually fill the tank enough to cover 1 day worth of watering and then turn off again. And so that way you're not filling the tank completely, and then 2 days later you get a rainstorm,
right,
and all your water goes out and down the street. So there's several different things that you can do with these that are really interesting.
What's a system like that cost?
So this system, the way we have it set up right now, is about a $10,000 system. The tanks themselves on this house are about $1,000 a piece.
And then, but to get everything else set up?
To get everything else set up,
10,000.
you're running, on this house, we ran probably 150 linear feet of 4-inch PVC underground. You're running downspouts up to the gutters to capture that water. And then you've also got to then tie it back into the city to be able to flip back and forth between the two.
Okay, so $10,000. I mean, I have to imagine that would equate to a lot of value.
It will, and over time, if you figure you live in your house 30 years, it's going to pay for itself a number of times.
Absolutely. Well, and if we ever get to a system in this area to where they would allow you to use it within your house, it would pay for itself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really quickly.
Definitely. Rain Ranchers we've seen some of the systems that they've done out in rural areas that are 75,000 gallons, and their whole house systems, and people have not used city water in 3 or 4 years.
Wow.
That's so crazy.
So,
just by rain. And right now we're getting a ton of rain.
Yeah.
The drought years, we do go through drought years where we're desperate for rain, and who knows, we're drowning right now, and in a month we might be, all of our water levels are down and we can't water anymore. So.
Yeah.
But this is amazing because, you're not on any restrictions for watering your lawn, I'm assuming.
Nope.
Yeah.
So it's pretty
As long as you got it.
As long as you've got it. So that's an amazing addition to put into this house. A $10,000 system to put in, it's just kind of an amazing extra bonus for.
One of the reasons we did this year is the new dean at the school, Adrienne Parr, is on the, if I can get this correct, she's the chair for the Water and Human Settlements Board for UNESCO.
Oh, wow.
And so she actually has a grant that she's gotten to do some study on water and human settlements at the university. And so there's 4 design studios that are going to be doing that in the fall. And so this was actually the first project funded out of that initiative at the school. So we had wanted to do this on the house last year, and it wasn't in the budget. And so we went to her this year and asked her if she'd be willing to do that. And she was like, sure, let's do it. So this piece is actually funded directly from the school.
From the school, from UTA.
Yes.
Well, it's amazing.
So cool.
And it does take up some yard.
It does.
And I would probably want to put, you know, a privacy fence around it. I mean, not
Yeah, but
right
it's
now.
just
It's
like-
so cool. I mean, if
Yeah.
you would put a privacy fence, I wouldn't have seen it and remarked on it. But it
But it
really
would
is
be
cool.
just like trying to, if you didn't like the way that it looks, it's like hiding pool equipment.
No, absolutely no. It is. It's like
Yeah.
it's
Or
like
your
very
air
large
conditioner
pool
compressor.
equipment.
Or your air conditioner.
Propelio.com. What does Propelio offer? Lead generating websites, access to true MLS comps, off-market lead lists, and deal alerts. Get them all today at Propelio.com.
Well, and some of the other products that you have here in the house that are green or energy efficient.
So the house is framed with 2x6 exterior stud walls so that we get a higher R value in the wall.
What does that mean? A higher R value?
Insulating value.
Thank you.
There we go, interpreting again. Typically homes are framed 2x4 stud wall. About an R15 is as high as you're going to get in that wall cavity. And to get a 15, a lot of times you have to go to an exterior insulation on the outside of the studs as well. In this house, because we're full spray foam insulation and that 2x6 wall cavity, we're actually in the wall cavity itself at about an R20.
Wow.
And then also in this house we have our sheathing is Huber Engineering zip system, which if you've seen multifamily go up the green board with the tape
Sure.
joints. But this actually has a 1/2 inch R3 insulation on the back. So you get a full thermal break on the outside of the house. And the way to explain that is it's like putting on a sweater. So you're actually stopping hot and cold transfer on the outside of the house. And so your studs don't become a conductor between your sheathing and the drywall to transfer that hot and cold directly through the wall.
Through that wood.
'Cause-
Because even though it's 6 inches, it's
Right.
still going to transfer.
And wood has a very low R value. So a 2x6 stud has an R value of about 6, which is about what your ductwork has. So by putting that on the outside, you're stopping that. So this house the temperature should stay very stable and should take very little HVAC or heat to heat and cool. The house that we built last year, 1,500 square feet, it didn't have that extra layer of insulation, but we were at 2x6 spray foam, and their electric bill in July and August last year was less than $150.
You're kidding.
Wow.
Less than $150
And that's a
on
full-
1,500
in
square
Texas.
feet.
And that's a full electric house.
It was
Yeah.
hot last summer.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah,
So this house is full electric as well, even though we have gas in the neighborhood, because with the spray foam, the zip board, all the kind of air sealing that we do, if you were to have an issue with carbon monoxide, it would get bad very quickly.
Gotcha.
So just to avoid issues with that, we go full electric.
And whenever you're talking about the sheathing around it, we're looking at it right now on the patio, correct?
Actually, the sheathing is behind this.
Okay.
What you're seeing on the patio, the exterior of the house is brick and hardy panel
Okay.
and hardy siding. So this is actually hardy that we're looking at here, but it's a smooth, flat panel, so it doesn't have the wood texture and that sort of thing. It's just a nice, clean, modern look. And then our horizontal siding is the same thing. So, you know, it just gives you a cleaner look. And then we're also using Tamlin is a company that builds drainage wraps.
Mhm.
And then they also make a product called Extreme Trim. And so it's an extruded aluminum product. So instead of having that kind of clunky 1x4 corner on hardy that you would typically get, you get this nice clean aluminum detail at the corner, and there's several different ways that you can trim that out, whether it comes to a point, it has a reveal like we're using, and then they have different profiles of that you can use around windows and doors and that sort of thing.
Yeah, it has a very, very clean and modern look about it.
You mentioned earlier that like the actual work, the rehab work or the construction work was done, 70% of it was done by your students.
Yes.
Spray foam. Do you all do that?
No.
Okay. That was just, because that's one of those things that, they have the equipment available to do it.
Right.
And how difficult is that? How not? So, and I'm just curious why you choose to do some things with students and some things not with.
Some of it is liability.
Okay.
We don't do plumbing, we don't do electrical, we don't do HVAC. some of it is, it's students. So we don't do drywall in the house because we want the drywall to be nice and clean, no joints showing, the texture to be right. So we let the professionals do the drywall, take float and texture in the house.
Paint?
Paint is all students.
Okay.
All the wall framing, we don't frame the roof because it would take us a long time. And again, it's a safety issue. You know, students aren't up then framing on the
You've
roof.
got teenagers framing on the roof. Is that frowned upon?
So framing is more difficult than decking the roof. And so we do actually deck the roof. So it's not so much students up high, it's just when you're dealing with large framing members and there's not a lot to kind of hang on to, it's a little more difficult to kind of let them do that than once you actually get the framing up and then start decking. Once you get the first piece up, you've got a solid surface to stand on.
This has got a nice pitch on it. Roofing expert, what pitch is this?
I don't know. I don't need to look outside, but yeah, get my little handy dandy tool out.
I don't know if I'm getting up on this on heels, but you know, climbing
So
it up.
on this side, the vaulted side, it's 4.
Okay.
So 4 and 12. And then the other pitch and the garage pitch are between 2 and 3 and 12.
Yeah, I volunteered to do the garage pitch. I don't know about this one. This one I'm like rolling back.
Right. So it's pretty low. It's about as low as you can go with composition shingles. But again, trying to keep that peak of the roof down so that
To
we
match
didn't
the neighborhood.
Right, so that we didn't dwarf the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Well, real quick, let's go ahead and touch on the housing channel. So
Okay.
y'all work in conjunction with the housing channel, and
Yes.
just for the people out there watching, the housing channel, that is a Tarrant County
yes.
system that is in place that is housing assistance for buyers that meet certain rules and regulations. And so, did y'all approach the housing channel, or they heard about what y'all are doing?
You know, I don't know who contacted who first. This is our second year of working with them.
Okay.
But I really don't know who contacted who first.
But you love the program.
I love the program, love working with them. You know, they're great people to work for and work with. And so, you know, they pretty much turn it over and let us handle everything. You know, there are a few things that we have to do, like, you know, the students would want hard floors, you know, either tile or what have you in the entire house, but their clientele base typically wants carpeted bedrooms. So, you know, there are a few things that we wouldn't do. You know, they give us a budget that we try to stay under. I don't know yet if we've completely stayed under that budget this year. We did really good last year. We were about 40 under our budget last year.
But on utility savings, which
you're
giving, you've got to consider those things. I mean, and
You
most
do.
people don't realize that. I mean, even when I was a Section 8 landlord, the Section 8 clients didn't realize that, oh, I want to get a bigger house, I want more square foot, I want all this. But then they didn't realize that once they got there, their utility bills, if they went from a 1,200 square foot to a 2,400 square foot, that's going to be double.
Yeah,
Your utility
huge.
bills will double to that. So, you know, understanding that, you know, that's a big price to live, or a lot of times your utility bills.
It is, and that's one of the reasons that we try to incorporate as much of the kind of sustainable things that we do. The extra insulation, full LED lighting, you know, the efficient windows, those types of things, is because we want the monthly cost for the homeowner to be as low as possible.
Which is wonderful, but the purchase cost and the construction cost will inevitably be higher due to that.
It will be higher. It'll be a percentage higher. But you know, I think ultimately, if you're building, it's more money up front, but I think you're going to really reap the benefits of that, and it'll pay off a number of times. as you
Absolutely.
continue to live
Absolutely.
in the
No,
house.
I agree.
So, you know, I mean, there's that's one of the things that we try to do and incorporate as much as we can for Housing Channel. And, you know, like I said, they pretty much just kind of
Wait
say,
until
okay,
it's done.
do
and
a
then-
3-bedroom, 2-bath, and, you know, let's see where we are. And so they come in during the process. We typically at midterm will have a review and pick from 3 or 4 designs. And so we bring in, you know, architects, we bring in faculty, Housing Channel, their builder, you know, all the people that are kind of involved. A lot of times we'll bring in the donors as well. And so we pick a design, and then take elements from the others to kind of roll the best ideas into one floor plan. And then that's, we go from there. So, they've been great to work with. Their builder this year was MKG Homes, and Kelly Pollard is the owner, and we actually worked with him a little bit last year on was the builder, and so he was great to work with. Was patient, able to kind of let us do some things, but then when he saw that we were beginning to get a little behind on an item or something, he would say, hey, let me bring my guys in to kind of catch this up, and you go on to the next thing. So roof decking was one of those things that it happened during spring break and couldn't get anybody here, and so it didn't go as smoothly and as quickly as I thought. So there are all those kind of things that we have to deal with during the build, but they've been great to work with.
And Jaylee, you brought clients
to now they changed their name from just the housing assistant authority or something.
Housing authority.
Yeah, something like that. And now they're the housing channel, and you can look them up online, and if you're interested and maybe you think you don't qualify or you don't have as much money down as you think you need to have, get with them or contact me or something like that. But I've gotten people actually here in Arlington, and like I said, there's programs here in your individual city, there's programs in your county, and then there's programs that are state and national that are all housing assistance for first-time home buyers. That doesn't mean you've never owned a home. That just means you haven't owned a home in the last 3 years.
Excellent.
Yeah.
No, and in most of the government programs, they say you just can't own a home within the last
3 years.
In the last 3 years. But this is also good for realtors. Because
Absolutely.
I get calls from realtors all the time because they see that they'll find me online as having some old ad out for an owner finance property. And they're like, oh, I've got this buyer, we can't get them qualified, but we want to get them a house, maybe owner finance. But this is another option.
Yes, it's definitely another option for your clients out there that are maybe struggling, because you get them into these programs and there's certain qualifications. Obviously, there's going to be income limits, but those income limits are typically about 80% of what your median is for that area. And then it goes from one person, that 80% limit, all the way up to 8, like if it was 2 people with 6 dependents. So they have a variation depending on how many people in your family. And then they also have a few classes that you have to take, because they're trying to teach you how to manage your money and how to continue to pay for your house and not buy into something that is over your budget where you're going to end up in trouble later on. So with that, if you qualify, then they help with the down payment assistance, and down payment assistance up to $20,000. So
which is,
you could actually come to the table, and I have had clients come to the table where they brought nothing to the table. I mean, it costs them $0 to purchase their home. And then they're in their home, and as long as they're there for 3 years, I think this one's 5 years, correct?
This one's 5
so
years.
Whenever, usually the more local the program, the longer they want you to stay in the house before you can turn around and sell it if you want to. I mean, most people when they move in, they're going to end up staying.
But the number one question that realtors are asking out there, well, if I bring them to this special program, am I going to get my commission?
Yes, you get paid. You get paid.
You
It's
get
the
paid.
same as a regular closing. All you're doing is providing your clients with options. There are options out there for all types of buyers. And so if you have a buyer that has some limitations on what they can buy and how much they can qualify for and what their income limit is, how much money they have to bring to the table, there are options. Now, not every lender is going to be able to work with those options. So that's the reason I said check with the housing channel. They have specific lenders that also have to get qualified to lend on this program. And same goes for the state and the federal. They have to be qualified. Not every lender uses this product. So.
And I just have to ask, because we do have a lot, we have a very large Hispanic population, even here in Arlington or anywhere in North Texas. Is it purely for social security number? I have to imagine it is.
It is.
It's not it's not I-10.
It's the I-10, but like we did that one program, I mean, there are I-10 options out there. However, the housing assistance
housing
programs-
assistance program is going to be for social security.
Yes, you're going to have to
you have to have a
social.
social security, social number,
Not an I-10.
not an I-10. So there you go. I mean, before you start running around for a client,
Yeah.
make sure that they've got a legal social security number. And they also have to be employed. I mean, they've got income requirements, but they still have to qualify for it.
Absolutely. You still have to qualify, but it's just more help that's out there that a lot of people don't realize. I can't tell you how many clients I've ended up with that came to me and they're like, nobody can help me. And I mean, we had them qualified in no time and we're going to the table with something.
Well, and amazingly, almost every government organization has, for everybody out there in rural communities, they have a ton of these programs.
Yes. There's a lot of programs out there to look
By
into.
going and talking to the Farm Bureau, the Farm Bureau has money for down payment assistance to buy homes out in the country. Again, you have to jump through a couple of hoops. Your client is going to have to go take
Probably a class or two.
or two, show up, and it's not the end of the world.
If you want the house bad enough, absolutely.
Well,
I mean,
the house bad enough for no cost.
Yeah.
And
It's definitely worth it.
And I don't know how long ago, 15, 20 years ago, I guess it's 20 years ago now, I was a teacher in Garland. They have half-price homes for teachers and police officers.
Yes, that's the Good Neighbor program. So the Good Neighbor program is great to check into if you're, a city employee or you're a teacher or something like that. The only problem with that is that they don't, kind of like HUD homes, they're hard to find. They don't come up that often.
And so back then I won. We're going to say won.
Yeah.
Because they called it a lottery. So all the teachers and police officers would go through the HUD properties, like in what was currently offered. It had to be in either the police station or the school district that you were
A part of.
Yep. And you would go in and say, yes, I want this one. And if you were drawn out of a lottery, then you got that house at 50%. So, and sometimes it did. I think it's probably 3 or 4 rounds for me to get one.
Well, I mean, I know they're out there. The Good Neighbor program, I just have never worked with yet. So, because the houses don't come up.
Right.
that often,
And the Good Neighbor, this was teacher next door, officer next door program was this one as well. So, yeah, there are a ton of programs out there.
Absolutely. So if you're having trouble and you know you're qualified, you got some credit, you've got an income, then look into the programs that are out there because there are options for everybody.
And you do get them. Don't think that you can't get one, because I actually got one.
And he works with the housing channel,
And
he knows.
He knows that people actually get his homes.
Yep.
Have they select? I'm going to say a winner. Have they got the winner for this one yet?
As far as I know, they have not.
Really?
So it's still
I think
available.
they're still taking offers
Applications.
on
They're
the house right
taking
now.
offers on the house right now for it. Is it because I know that there's got to be some interest in this. Is
There
it
is.
just hard because it's $195?
I think that's the main issue, is just that because of kind of where we ended up price point wise, I think they're having a little bit of an issue getting people qualified. That's our fault because we kind of went crazy, but
It is what it is now.
They'll
It is
get
what
it
it
sold.
What what are the homes going for on this street?
I have no idea.
Okay, so that's not important.
But I do know that houses in this neighborhood actually are worth more than I thought they were.
Yeah, they're
So I've
the
been
houses
told
in
that.
this.
I don't know which way to take that number.
So it's I've been told that they're actually worth more than you would think. So. But I haven't
because
heard.
they're bigger homes and because they're brick, and on the east side of Arlington, there's not usually
Brick.
Yeah, it's more the wood frame homes and a little bit smaller. These in this neighborhood are $175.
Okay, so it's comparable.
Yeah.
I mean, $175 to $195. That's not too big of a.
It's not for
because
brand new.
these are smaller as well, right? Most of them, I think, top out at 1,300, 1,400 square feet.
And most of them do not have an enclosed garage either.
Correct.
Yeah, carport.
Right. They have a carport or nothing
Or
because they
a
took
shed
over.
at the back of the carport.
Right,
next
because
door
they
to
took
them.
over. They took over at one point. They took over that garage
Right.
and made it part of the house to make it 1,400 square feet.
Right.
Because originally it was 1,200. Okay.
Well,
So this is
maybe
huge.
here we can go ahead and take a quick tour of the home so that everybody can see how beautiful this is. Oh my gosh, it's so stinking beautiful. And if you're thinking about buying a home in that price range, well then you might want to go ahead and start making your application or get over here and take a tour. 'Cause
It's available.
It's still available.
As far as I know.
All right.
All right.
Awesome. Well, let's get started on that tour.
Propelio.com. What does Propelio offer? Lead generating websites, access to true MLS comps, off-market lead lists, and deal alerts. Get them all today at Propelio.com.
Hey there, you guys. Welcome. We're going to start the tour. Right now, we're standing on the front patio. It is a spacious front patio, and you want to tell us a little bit about this gate here that leads to the backyard?
Sure. So, the idea was obviously to have, kind of this nice big porch. You could interact with your neighbors, kind of becomes a gathering space for the neighborhood, that sort of thing. And then if you wanted to, if you were entertaining or having a barbecue, then you could open this up to the backyard. And then this gate will open you up and then bring you back into this outdoor courtyard here that you can also access from the kitchen.
I love it.
I do, and I just love the modern style because
Yes.
it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't feel like
Yeah, it's not your typical wood picket gate for sure.
exactly.
And it's on hydraulics. You showed me that earlier. I even stuck my fingers in there to make sure that it wouldn't nab me.
And then it closed quicker than I expected. So,
So, and before we get going, who's responsible for the staging? Because, in my opinion, especially for anybody flipping a house, staging is key. It is, and don't think that you're going to skip on it or anything like that. Even if you're going out and putting in a few garage sale items, which I've done before,
Yep.
but just made it look stylish, put some art up so that people can see what the home is going to feel like when you get furniture in it. It makes a world of difference because, I mean, you come out here, look how inviting this is.
Yes, it's really cozy. So
so I knew you were going to ask me that question. I believe the name of the company is Modern Design. They are based out of Fort Worth. We can check that when we get in the hall because they do have cards and handouts in the hallway too. But I believe that
So
is
Modern Design is
Modern-
who stages.
is who staged the house, and they are pretty much exclusively mid-century and modern design staging.
Excellent.
Oh, fantastic.
Which is, I mean, it's completely in right now anyways.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, let's go ahead and head in real quick. I'm going to shut this door real quick because I want everybody to see this pretty yellow door.
Along with the
I love this.
I know. And I
Love
don't
it.
know that yellow would have ever been something I would have picked, but I absolutely love it with the grays.
Yes.
It works so well.
I tried to get them to do orange, and they knew better than me. So
I would have loved orange too. Either one.
Honestly, it brightens up the space so much with this dark gray that I just wouldn't have picked something like that, but it's stunning.
It's very nice.
Really nice.
And again with the staging, because they incorporated the yellow in here, so it just flows.
And it was one of those happy accidents as well that when she was here to look at the house originally, the door wasn't painted yet.
Really?
And so the yellow is an almost identical match.
And so it's something that probably fits. And so there were enough design students in your class to realize, yeah, yellow
Was definitely the color.
Yeah, I mean it is. Look at it. It all works beautifully. And so this, I mean, yes, there's a piece of art right there, but you could easily put flat screen TV right up against the wall. So, yeah, and it's your perfect space.
Then
Perfect, cozy living room, and then right behind us.
So we have this, it's almost like a small mudroom space. So you come in, there's a bench, you got a place to put your shoes down below, and then, we would think that then you could put some coat hooks on the wall, and that could almost
love
be
that.
like your
I do too.
entry closet mudroom space.
Absolutely, I love that.
And then there's storage up there as well, but
Yes.
I mean, it can be decorative or it could be utilized for storage for when people are coming in.
Yep.
Well, now we come in here and everybody gets to see like all the natural light. You can see all these beautiful windows that we were talking about earlier, and then you've got the windows up top on that ledge where the arch meets. It's just stunning how much natural light comes in here.
And there's a lot, I mean, with this bar, I mean, this island, you said it is basically 12 feet, isn't it?
I believe it's 12 feet. Yes.
It's like 2 6-foot sections of butcher block, but I mean, there is so much room here. I mean, you can easily, what can you get, 8 people aside to there? I mean, if you wanted to, you could also pull up and have a dinner here.
You could.
Absolutely.
You could.
So like, let's say you wanted to have a dinner party and, you know, have 20 of your closest friends here for dinner. I mean, it would be quite easy.
You could. And, you know, again, that was one of the things that we really wanted to stress was, you know, how do we think a little bit differently about how we use the space in the house so that we're not dedicating square footage to things that, you know, either you don't spend your time in or that, you know, that end up getting used for other things. So by creating the island in the space, you get kind of the flexible use of it, and you're not eating up, you know, 150, 200 square feet in a dining room that becomes storage effectively.
Right. Absolutely. Well, the dining room, I mean, now everybody seems to know, and the builders have kind of gotten wise, is the dining room is the most unused space in the house. Whereas everybody, you know, 20 years ago, I need a formal dining. Nobody uses the formal dining.
I
Nobody.
turned mine into a billiards room.
Yeah.
I have a pool table. I mean, absolutely. And you know, you've still got, so, I mean, we're talking 12 feet for this. So you've got, I mean, what, 15, 18 feet spanning of cabinets.
Yes.
And countertop space.
Some additional countertop space, but I mean, there is enough room.
These are also all IKEA cabinets. Now these are not donated, but they did give us a price break on these. And so you have a pantry cabinet at the end, and then your uppers and lowers, and then you know, they just really turned out nice and clean and modern.
They really did. And they match, this wood grain matches the finishing on the slider, the glass door, whenever we turn around and look at that. But like all the, and you know, the staging.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
that's awesome. That's fantastic. So I don't know what you would call this other than maybe your little coffee patio.
Coffee patio, it's the smoking den.
Well, or that. I know smoking isn't in anymore.
No, it's your vape patio.
Vape
I'm just gonna come out here and vape with my coffee every morning.
You know, it's a great place to come out, you know, have coffee. You could read outside if the weather's nice. You know, it's kind of a nice little private space. And then, you know, if it's raining, then you can go the other side of this window and you can sit on the window seat, which we'll see from the hall then in a minute, and still kind of experience this space from the inside.
Absolutely. It is so cool.
Well,
I can totally see putting some great plants and stuff.
Plants, and also, I mean, if you had some grass out here, you know, I'd love to let my doggy,
Yep.
Yeah.
you know, scamper out here while I'm enjoying coffee and run and do its business.
Yeah, you could even make that somewhat of a dog run so that the rest of the yard is clean and free.
Clean and free, yes. Yeah. So no, and that's a nice big span. So, and I do love this window.
I know you do. All this storage. So because y'all don't really have closets and stuff in like traditional closets,
Correct.
then you've built in a ton of storage.
So we have, and as you kind of move through the house, the center spine of the house, or datum as we call it, all of your storage happens within this. Your utility closet, the linen closet, and then the closets of the bedrooms all happen in this space that's about 4 feet deep. And so it just kind of centralizes all your storage, clothing, all those types of things.
Fantastic. And then there's more storage underneath your little bench here.
Yes, there's cubbies on the front, and then there is storage underneath. It probably is stuck
it's
from the fresh paint, but
Yes, but it's also got pillows on it. But this opens up and there's hidden storage
yes,
here, and it, I mean, that's got to be pretty big in there.
it's big enough that one of the students actually got in there.
No, I believe it.
Closed the door, so.
Somebody's children are going to be in that. I mean, I know my kids are getting it now.
I love these floors. Fantastic.
Porcelain.
These are porcelain. So another donor on the project was Acme Brick, and so they donated all of the brick, and then they also had purchased, I believe it's American Tile, a couple of years ago, and they're beginning to kind of phase out American Tile as a brand, and so they actually donated all of the tile in the house as well.
Wow.
So that was
That's a windfall.
Yes.
Yes. So this is one of my favorite rooms in the house. Is this? I mean, this is a nice big master.
It's a nice size, and then of course with the vault and the clear story again, you've got a lot of nice natural light in here, and it feels bigger than it really is. And then with the open closet, that also kind of gives you that feeling of a larger room. You're not, again, you're allowing that space to be a flex space where you've got a clothes rod in there, you can hang your clothes, but then you could put your dresser, or you could put a sewing machine or a desk or something in that space, and then you're not eating up the floor space in the bedroom with some of those other pieces of furniture. And that you will see in the other bedrooms that we've done the same thing, where it's just an open space, but it allows you to be more flexible and not pinch those spaces down.
That is
Excellent.
so cool.
And oh my goodness, look at this deck.
I know.
I know, look at this. It's so great. Oh my goodness, yes. I love all the outdoor space. I mean, this is our fourth patio.
Yeah.
This is our
patio.
fourth patio deck outdoor space.
Yep. So that was, it was another one of those things that the students really worked hard on, was, providing outdoor spaces that work well in conjunction with the indoor spaces to, again, make the house live bigger than it really is. So you get this private deck off the back of the master. You've got this nice 9-foot slider coming out.
This screams hot tub to me.
It
Doesn't
could be
it?
hot tub.
I would this would be like hot tub.
The students were envisioning kind of vines growing up that higher piece there to really kind of complete
Hide
this
it,
outdoor room.
And just kind of make it like more of a private sanctuary.
Well, and leaving all these bushes here, I mean, you really get a nice privacy feeling right here. And
You do. They did a really good job of kind of, taking that into account as they sited the house and kind of designed these outdoor spaces. We've talked to the neighbors, and they're like, "We can hear you over there, but we can't see you." So
that's what you want.
I know.
I mean, well,
it really is. It
for
really
neither.
is a nice space out here.
Yeah, that's great. I love this. And as you mentioned before, if you have kids, there's no steps coming up the porch. You can see them, but they can't get to you
There you go.
if they're out here
They're-
playing.
Either we're in the prison or they're
they are
in the prison.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
don't
sure
know.
which.
Yeah, whatever. You're like, I'm sitting out here. I'm having my glass of wine.
Yes.
All right, let's see that awesome master
Oh,
bathroom.
I love this master bath. So the first thing I noticed in here, the shower. I mean, the shower is absolutely enormous.
Yeah, that is great.
Oh my gosh, yeah, there's so much room in there. And the tile work is exquisite. It's ceramic though, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
It's a beautiful ceramic.
when I first walked in, I thought it was marble.
Yeah, it has that look.
It definitely has that Carrera, the white Carrera marble look. But when you get closer, it's ceramic, but durable, and I mean, it's very well done. Especially if your students are the ones who did all the tile work.
The students did not lay the tile.
Okay, there we go. So 70%,
70%.
but I haven't hit on exactly they painted.
Yeah.
Painted and framed.
Decking.
Framing, sheeting,
Yeah,
siding,
framing.
all that good stuff. And then, of course, we have our 42-inch tub, toilet, and
More storage. I mean, and there's
storage.
excellent storage, and I love the fact that it matches the kitchen.
All of the cabinets in the house match. And then the other thing that we like about the IKEA cabinets, we'll have to show you in the other bathroom because this one doesn't have it.
Oh.
There's, you can either get their cabinets with 3 drawer fronts, Or in the other bathroom, you'll see that when
It
you
has
pull
the
this
hidden-
out, there's a hidden drawer behind. So we'll see that in the guest bathroom.
Very cool.
Linen space. So we have a folding table then that matches the island in the kitchen.
Okay.
And then this is where your stackable washer dryer goes.
But
But right now
it's
the-
housing the,
is housing the barrel alarm.
Right.
So
okay.
but so
But that's another
But-
place that
but-
you save space
But
by doing those two closets.
this is a great design feature because you pull this back, you've got your stackable washer and dryer, you're pulling laundry out and folding it right here.
exactly.
It's-
And you're not giving up
An
like,
entire room to
an
it.
entire room that like you would, and it's not, between the garage and the house.
No,
or
it's
something
not
like that.
right in the middle of all the bedrooms.
Centrally located. So, and again, this is that you kind of 4-foot deep datum that runs all the way
Kids
through the
do
house.
their own laundry because it's right here.
Yep. So this is one of our other smaller bedrooms. Again, lots of natural light. Window up high. This one does face the street, so maybe you want to put a shade in, but it's high enough to give you privacy.
Oh, absolutely.
People are only going to see like the top of your head, and with the other fence and things out there, then I wouldn't put a blind in it if it were me. And then larger than your typical 3-foot by 5-foot windows here. This is another 4-foot by 6'8" single hung window here. And you'll see in some of the panels in the house, we've done the frosted glass. And so obviously in the shower, we do that for privacy. Here we're doing it as a design element to kind of break up the elevation a little bit. You could have blinds and then leave this. You wouldn't have to have the blind lowered all the time, and you get some good light in at the bottom. This is also a point of egress, if you were to have a fire or something. And then the big slider in the master, because it's a 9-foot opening, you have 6 foot of glass that you can put a typical shade in front of, vertical blinds, what have you, but you're not having to open and close them to go out on the deck. You just slide
Exactly,
open
you
the
just slide
frosted
it.
panel.
I love that.
So you see that kind of frosted here and there throughout the house, and that's something that we thought about after the fact last year that we incorporated into the house this year.
I like it. It really works, and it brings everything, the unity throughout the house. Again, with the cabinets and the frosted glass. And this is a great shared bathroom. I mean, that thing's huge. I think you should go in alone though.
I know. It's still
It's
smaller
huge,
rooms, but
but-
it's very large.
Yeah.
For a hall bath, it really is pretty nice. So again, the IKEA cabinets, and then here in this bathroom, we have those extra pull-out kind of shallow door that are hiding IKEA parts and pieces right now. And so you get, your nice deep storage at the bottom, and then kind of your middle storage, and then the shallow stuff at the top, shower, and then linen shelves here in the back corner as well. And so then the other bedroom, this is a mirrored bedroom from the other one. The only difference is this one has a little bit bigger closet because the water heater eats into the other one a little bit.
Oh, okay.
But again, it's an example of having the hanging rod, you've got an extra shelf, and then you could put dressers or, kids' desk or anything kind of on that wall, and then it's not kind of getting into the main space of the room.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And it's still nice and open. Great windows.
Well, and it does help it make it feel bigger.
It does. I mean, if
that
that
was
were
a
an
wall.
enclosed closet, then basically at the back edge of the door, there'd be a wall, and it would really start to pinch the space down.
Absolutely.
And so it's one of those things where people either like it or they hate it. So, it's one of those that it's
And
kind
it's a
of
trade-off.
one or the
I mean, when you're doing smaller spaces, you need to get as much space and make it
wanna-
look as big as possible.
you want to make them feel as big as possible.
Right.
So,
Or seem as big as possible.
there you go.
All right.
Yeah.
Favorite part.
So then here we have that private courtyard, half of it covered. And so, really this becomes a really nice kind of gathering space. It could be dining space. You could hang out here, barbecue. You know, it's just really a nice private courtyard.
I mean, it screams, let's have a party, get together, some wine.
It does.
It does. No, I'm like, I'm already ready to hang out here all afternoon.
Yeah, right?
So it's one of those things where when you're working with the students and they're all like, you know, well, they're entertaining and this is a great entertaining space, and I have to keep reminding them, but you don't know who's going to live in the house and how they live. But let's hope that because of the spaces we've designed, that they will use them in that capacity.
Absolutely. I just love this.
That is this open. I mean,
on a nice day, are you kidding me?
well, and I mean, here in Texas, yeah, we have a couple months where it's just too hot to do that. But during, you know, majority of most of the year, because this is mostly covered.
Yep.
So even when it's raining, you could still have that all the way open. It's cool.
You got in the summer months as well, you've got these large pecan trees here that really filter that light, that afternoon sun. So it cuts down on the heat in the space. It cuts down on the heat gain on the house as well.
It's comfortable here. I mean, yeah, it's a warm day out, but it's comfortable. So.
Yep. Well, and then now you can see the tanks that we were talking about earlier. Yes, they're huge, but how efficient is that? And there's still quite a bit of yard left.
Whoop.
Yeah, watch out. Yeah.
Yeah, no, the yard is huge, which, you know, a family is going to want.
Yes.
And then, I mean, I love this rain collection system. I mean, so many people are really looking at, you know, conserving water nowadays.
Conserving water, energy efficient, everything going green. I mean, I love all of it.
Yeah.
I think every new house built should have rainwater collection and solar.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
You know, cut down on the energy dependence and, you know, have extra water, you know, rather than it going down the street and contributing to flooding.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's wonderful.
And the way you did the concrete, because this is mimicked from the front, whenever you're walking up to the front entryway, y'all did the blocks. I love the way you did that because I just added it to the design, that whole modern design of the entire house.
it does, and you know, that is one of the things the students did is we typically don't do concrete work, so we don't do the foundation. But those blocks in the front, they formed and poured themselves.
Did they really?
It took them almost 9 hours, and that was 50 bags of concrete.
Wow.
So we did have a mixer, but it only mixes 2 bags at a time. So it was
takes
a
a second.
workout.
It was a workout to do that one.
But they were really excited to get to do a little concrete work.
That's cool. Well, it looks great. It turned out fabulous. I like the separate garage. I'm sure it's full of a lot of storage stuff.
It's full of a bunch of stuff right now.
So we won't even take a look at that. Y'all know what a garage looks like.
You know, one of the things that people ask us is why do we keep doing detached garages? And the primary reason for doing so is you get to then create this space between the house and another building. And so it helps define and kind of create this private space here in the back, and then it also defines this little planting area out in front as well. So it costs a little bit more money to do a detached garage, but you can really start to then place them and create and help define these outdoor spaces.
Well, then you have these courtyards. I mean, it really creates, like you said, the plantings and everything else. We're talking about niches, courtyards, like little vignettes that otherwise wouldn't be there if you attach the garage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so for everybody else, you know, who might, I mean, come to this street and buy one of these houses, is it possible to start from one of those and alter it to?
I think you could. Obviously, you wouldn't get as high a vault without modifying the roof.
Correct.
But you could go in and start to vault some of the spaces, and you could start to really then define some outdoor spaces. You know, knock out some walls, put some bigger windows in. I mean, it's possible. You know, it all boils down to what it costs, obviously. But
Exactly.
you could come in and you could start to make some changes and really, you know, kind of open these houses up.
And architectural changes so that it gives you that feel of a modern house and taking it into the next millennium.
Yep.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you for the tour. Thanks
welcome.
for taking time and letting us see. I know we've seen pictures of your other houses finished out and everything, but we've never gotten to actually do the tour
And be
and
in
let
one.
everybody see it. So this has been awesome. We appreciate your time. Thanks, Brad.
No problem. I enjoy it.
Kristin?
Thank you so much. I love it, and I
You're
love the
welcome.
design, and it's just.
It's all students.
So, yeah, a little bit of
I
guidance.
give them all
You're
the
not going to
credit.
take any credit there.
I give them all the credit. So.
Well, I'm Jaylee Thompson with Texel Real Estate. You guys know how to get a hold of me if you want to try me on Facebook, either Jaylee Thompson, Texel Real Estate, or Jaylee Thompson Broker. Then we're both on Real Estate Divas. We have a page, so be sure to like and follow that page.
And I'm Kristin Gerst. I own Capricorn Mortgage Investments. I buy owner finance mortgage notes. If you have them, send them to me. You can find me on Facebook's the best way, or email me at info@capricornmortgage.com.
Fantastic. Y'all have a great day. Enjoyed it. Bye.
Propelio TV is sponsored by Noble Mortgage and Investments, Batch Skip Tracing, Think Multifamily, CreativeCashflow.com, and Life and Air.
Hey everybody, I'm Ryan with Propelio. If you like what you saw, please subscribe. Turn on those notifications and stick around for more. We have tons of content like this all over our channel. So if you want to learn more about real estate investing, stick around, watch Propelio TV, and we'll see you later.